My name is Rosemary. I am 28 years old. And 1 week ago, my life was shattered, not by an enemy, not by a stranger, but by the very people who were supposed to love me. It was our first wedding anniversary. The house was glowing. Music filled every corner. Laughter echoed through the rooms. And somewhere in the middle of all that warmth, I stood quietly by the window, one hand resting gently over my stomach, carrying a secret that made the night feel sacred. 3 months pregnant. Our first child. My husband walked over and placed his hands softly over mine. "Are you okay?" he asked. I smiled. "I'm happy," I said. And I meant every word. But happiness, I've learned, can be fragile, especially when people around you never wanted it for you in the first place. You see, our marriage was never simple. I came from nothing. A small family, a humble home, parents who worked themselves to the bone just to give me a basic education and a decent life. We didn't have wealth, but we had something money can't buy: dignity and honesty. My husband's family? They had everything else: properties, businesses, power, a name that opened doors. When he chose me, the world was shocked, including me. At first, his family smiled. They welcomed me politely. But slowly, the way winter creeps in before you realize summer is gone, things changed. The smiles grew colder. The words grew sharper. "She doesn't really fit in here. Her background is different. People from her level don't understand our lifestyle." I swallowed every insult. I changed the way I dressed, the way I spoke, the way I carried myself in front of guests. Not because I wanted to, but because I loved my husband and I didn't want to become a wall between him and his family. He always told me, "Don't listen to them. I chose you." And I believed him. That evening, as the celebration filled the house with joy, I noticed his family watching me from across the room, whispering. I forced myself to look away. I focused on the music, the laughter, the flowers. I told myself, tonight is special. Don't let anything ruin it. Then my husband rose from his seat and lifted his glass. The room fell quiet. He spoke about our first year, about the future, about the life we were building side by side. As I listened, tears filled my eyes. For one perfect moment, everything felt right. Then the door opened. A man walked in. Nobody recognized him. At first, people assumed he was a late guest. But he didn't greet anyone. He didn't look for a seat. He walked straight through the middle of the room, directly toward me, and stopped. His eyes locked onto mine. My heart seized. Before anyone could speak, he raised his voice and said, "I'm sorry to interrupt, but everyone here deserves to know the truth." The room went still. Then he pointed at me. "The baby she's carrying is mine." The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard in my life. Then it broke. Into gasps, into whispers, into chaos. "I don't even know you," I said, my voice trembling. But he wasn't finished. He reached into his bag and pulled out a file. Medical reports, timelines, and then photographs. Photos of the two of us, together, that looked disturbingly real. "If you think I'm lying," he said calmly, "then look at this." The papers passed from hand to hand. Voices rose around me. The timeline matches. "Look at these photos." The room had already made up its mind. And before I could say another word, my husband's mother stepped forward and slapped me across the face. The sound cracked through the air. "You brought shame to this family," she hissed. "Divorce her," she told her son. Immediately, relatives piled on. "We always knew she wasn't right for him. Look where she comes from." Every word was a blade. I turned to my husband with tears streaming down my face, silently begging him to say something, to stop this, to see me. And then he moved. He didn't speak to his mother. He didn't acknowledge the crowd. He walked straight toward the man, grabbed him by the collar, and shoved him backward with a force that shook the entire room. Enough. The word cut through the noise like a thunderclap. He turned to face everyone, his family, the guests, all of them, and his voice was steady and unflinching. "I know my wife. I know her better than anyone standing in this room." Silence. "I don't care what papers you show. I don't care what pictures you bring." He turned and looked directly at me. I believe her. 3 words. Just 3. But they carried the weight of the entire world. His father stepped forward, cold as stone. Think carefully. We gave you everything. Choose her, and you are no longer part of this family. You will lose your name, your wealth, everything. I was shaking. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was his entire life on the line, everything he had ever known. I wanted to tell him it was okay, that he didn't have to do this, that I would understand. But before I could speak, he reached out and took my hand. Come with me, he said quietly. And without a single glance back, we walked out the door. Behind us, voices erupted. His parents called his name. Relatives shouted. But he never slowed down, not even for a breath. We sat in the car in silence. The moment the door closed, I completely fell apart. I swear I don't know that man. I swear I didn't do anything. Please believe me. He turned to me. His eyes were calm, certain. I know you, he said. I trust you. No stranger will ever make me doubt my own wife. But then his expression shifted, quiet and serious. This isn't over. He's lying. And I need to find out why. He spent the next several days digging. He called contacts, pulled strings, chased every thread until there was nowhere left to hide. When they finally found the man, the truth came apart almost immediately. Under pressure, he confessed. Every single word had been a lie. My husband's own family had paid him. They told him what to say. They gave him the fabricated documents. They arranged the photographs. They planned the entire ambush at our anniversary celebration in front of everyone we loved because they had never accepted me. Because they wanted their son to marry someone with wealth and status. And because they refused to allow my child, their own grandchild, to have any claim to what they had built. My husband stood there and said nothing for a long time, but I saw it in his eyes. Something had broken. Something deep and irreplaceable. A week later, we went back. His family thought he had come home. They thought he had come to fix things, to leave me behind and step back into the life they had built for him. They were wrong. He walked through the door holding my hand, stood in front of his parents, and told them everything. The lie. The man they hired. Every detail. His mother's face went pale. His father's expression crumbled behind a mask of composure. We only wanted better for you, his mother wept. We did this for your own good, his father said. One day you'll understand. My husband looked at them for a long moment. There was no rage on his face. No shouting. Just something far heavier than anger. Disappointment. I trusted you, he said quietly. Then he took one step back. From today, I have no family here. His mother collapsed in tears. His father reached for him, but he was already gone. He held my hand, and we walked away. Together. Forever. Some people will do anything to protect their name, even destroy the innocent. But what they never count on is love that refuses to bend. Speech balloon, I want to hear from you. What would you have done if you were in Rosemary's shoes? And what do you think of a family that could go this far, hiring a stranger to destroy their own son's marriage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. This one deserves a real conversation. Red heart if this story moved you. Share it with someone who needs to be reminded that real love still exists. And make sure you're subscribed, because more stories like this are coming, and you don't want to miss a single one.